Hey, what's up, everybody? I am here at Sweetwater with two incredible musicians, content creators, YouTubers, you name it, social media phenoms. This is Babic and Rolland. Guitar, vocals, musicians in bands. I mean, they've done a whole lot of stuff. So I'm excited when I get to sit down with people like this because they have stories and they have journeys and they have a history of how they got to where they are. And I love to try and uncover that a little bit because the journey to doing this full time or the journey to being a content creator or a YouTuber or any of that, I haven't really talked to anybody that's like, hey, yeah, yesterday I wasn't doing YouTube full time and now I am, you know, like there's always a journey. We were just talking about the fact that yours was like 3 stages, you know, You said you started out in bands and then you kind of jumped into making YouTube videos and now it's like a full-time thing, right, Lauren?
Yeah, it was 3 stages. I started in bands in 2008 when I was 17. And then I just wanted to learn how to sing better. So I just threw some videos up on YouTube in like 2010. Over time, I realized, hey, this maybe could be a thing. And then I went full time with it in 2019, which seems very recent, but it has been a journey.
That's an interesting side to it, is that nowadays it's very apparent that content creation can be like a career, or it can be something like people wake up and they're like, hey, like I want to pursue content creation, I want to do this full time, I want to make a job out of it. A lot of times, if you've been doing it a while, it didn't originally seem like something you could do full time. You couldn't just like be a content creator, you know? It took a while before we started to realize that that's actually a pathway. So Cole, you've been doing it a while as well, right?
Yeah, actually, like probably around the same amount of time as Lauren. But I posted my first video in 2009, which was a guitar cover of Dragon Force Through the Fire and Flames, and that came up. Yeah, Shred City. Shout out Herman Lee, and that came out like I think right place, right time, right when Guitar Hero 3 was at its just super peak of popularity, and that video really caught fire. And I remember a guy at my high school coming up to me like, but maybe 6-7 months after I posted it. And he's like, dude, I saw your video on YouTube. Like, it's got so many views on it. And it was around like 100,000, which like 2009 YouTube was crazy, especially for it being a standalone, like one upload, no follow up. And from there, I was like, oh, maybe I can actually, you know, do something with this. And I was always just trying to learn new tech or new skills. Just started posting guitar covers of pop songs from there. And then when that needed, you know, some kind of fresh spice to it, I started learning how to produce full production covers of things, get them onto Spotify, started writing my own music, and then that has snowballed a lot of cool opportunities from there.
I think that's one of the things that I always find most interesting is like as you delve deeper into content creation and trying to like make a name for yourself or open doors, it's like the more skills and things you can pick up along the way open so many more opportunities, especially like being able to figure out your own camera gear or being able to figure out your own production, or like just being able to put together the pieces into something that turns out to be what it is that your dream is, you know? For you, Cole, I mean, it sounds like you've kind of transitioned further into the production side of things, and like really like when you sit back in your head, what is it that you see? What are you looking for? What are you trying to create?
The way I would answer that is like I've always just wanted to have the tools or the means, whether it was like the equipment or the skills or both, to make whatever idea I had in my head actually come to life. Because I love collaborating with people, but sometimes in order to really sell an idea or get people excited about it, you got to figure out a way to present it to them in the best possible way. So it started off like that, and the more I would just work with different people, whether it was like, you know, visual teams or other musicians or live performance opportunities and stuff, I would just constantly learn new little trinkets of information from people, and they would just, you know, add to your skill set over time. And I really fell in love with production because, like I said, you gain the skills to bring the craziest ideas you have in your head actually to life, and it's so cool to be able to do that.
I think what you just said is really important, that it is a learned skill. Like I emphasize this as often as possible, but like you don't wake up in the morning and immediately have all the skills you need to be the most successful content creator. You know, it's something you learn over time, it's something you practice, it's something you get better at. It's something where you look back at your old videos and you laugh. You're like, I cannot believe I posted that. But like, that's how you get out there. That's how you get started. And Lauren, I think by the time this video comes out, your new music video will be live that you just showed me earlier today, which is freaking awesome. Like,
So sick.
when you think about a music video like that, you know, music videos used to be like, you know, huge, massive productions. You couldn't do this thing on your own. You couldn't just take it and run up to a skate park and be like, we're going to create something cool. But now you can, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, give me a little insight into your thought process on something like that.
Being a DIY musician for so long and not having to rely on the funding from a record label, you have to wear many hats and learn many tricks.
All the
just
hats,
like
man.
you said. So finding a team and finding people that are willing to kind of run and gun it with you and kind of just understand, okay, this is the vision, we're going to go for it, and we're going to do the best we can with the resources we have. Because obviously if you're self-funding your music videos and your music, you're not working with thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of budget. Sometimes it's like, we have $500, what are we going to do with it? So over time, my mantra has been, I want to make the best things I can, and music that's competitive and really good with the least amount of I guess, top class, top of the line gear. Like, I still have lighting and stuff that has like duct tape and like, you wouldn't believe the things that like I get away with. But I think just mastering your craft with the basic things and learning from that and kind of honing the skills in the worst conditions, then as soon as you have access to like a real budget and things like that, as you grow as an artist, all of a sudden the world, like the sky's the limit pretty much. So yeah, just finding the team and finding the people who are willing to work with you and just working with good, genuine people is really important too. And that's something that I think a lot of DIY people have learned the hard way is sometimes people don't have the best intentions, and finding your team and finding the gems.
That was something I wanted to add on to as well, is like, you end up, like, if you really have the hunger and the drive to make it happen and you want to keep getting better and better, like, you can't do everything yourself all the time, and you need to lean on other people's expertise. Some people are just so incredibly good at what they do, and they can only enhance your project. So you end up having to step into this leadership role that you may have never thought that you would have to, and figure out how to get people excited about this project and how to, you know, be an inspiring person to work with or enjoyable to be around. And like, that's a whole other skill set on its own. So that was one of like the surprise skills that it's like, oh, now I need to figure this one out.
You almost become a project manager.
Yes,
in
you do.
In the whole process of it, because I know, like, Cole's honed, like, you've honed your production skills, but that's not something that I've done or am necessarily good at. But I know that I have the ideas. So finding really talented producers that understand my like chaos in my brain, and they can actually execute my ideas, and kind of outsourcing that way. Like when we did Only One.
I was just going to say that. That was the coolest thing, man.
I would like make a noise at you or like say, hey, I have this thing, we should add this here. And you would go and find the thing and go and do the thing. And I'd be like, yes, that.
Only One was so cool too. Because like there's so many, like it very much is a song that you can tell we both contributed equally to, and we did it all live on Twitch, which was also so sick for people to be involved in every part of the process. There were so many ideas that you had in that session that I was like, I never would have thought of that if we didn't like do it together in person. So yeah, things like that are nice surprises.
I could never like possibly execute or produce any sort of like level that you've honed over the years, like, because we've worked together, I would
so many
almost
times now.
A decade.
Yeah, I know.
Like we started when we did our first version of Every Time We Touch, and seeing the growth over time, you can
it's crazy.
Audibly and visually see how much we've learned over 10 years. And I think just putting ourselves out there and showing that growth is it can be embarrassing, like looking back and saying, wow, I was a baby.
Rite of passage, man.
But I think it's endearing in a way and inspiring for especially young people who can see like, hey, this is where they were, and look at what they've done now, completely self-funded, completely DIY. Like, I think that's really special and awesome.
Y'all just touched on like 7 different incredible things. One of which you were just getting to there, which I think is really important, is that you can't be scared to not be perfect or the best that it can be right away. Like, it is endearing. Content creation gives you the opportunity to connect with people, like being just like a rock star or a pop star or something doesn't, because as a content creator or having social media platforms that you exercise and you work on yourself, like, you're able to really connect with, I mean, Twitch and live streams, and like, they're fun. That's a whole different level. And this new age media of like being able to actually speak back to people or to interact with people or to build a more real world relationship with them, where you are a person that they look up to, but an actual person that they can see themselves relating to a lot more. Like, when I was putting out videos, it was like throwing gaming posters on the wall behind me to show that I'm just a dude who likes to play first-person video games.
The early days YouTube sets, man. Yeah, showing your personality and all of them.
And that's like, and that's a real thing. Like, and the progression, like, yes, you want to be the best that you can. You look at, like, you look at your set, Cole, that you record on at home, and someone may be like, oh man, I don't have all that gear, or but like, you don't start out there, you start out with good ideas and good content. And what you were talking about, like duct taping lights and things of that nature, like, that's okay.
I still do that.
Yeah.
I still do that.
It doesn't matter where you get to, you have to use the best resources that you have in the best way. And what I mean by that is, like, when you're starting out, you can't buy lights and a camera and an audio interface and microphones. Like, you have to pick and choose what is important to the production that you're trying to do. And that's something that I'm always like pushing for. I'm like, you can get a cheap video light and use your iPhone and make sure you get a decent audio interface and a decent microphone so you can play guitar and record it well, or like whatever it is that's the key to that next chapter. And
don't hold yourself back thinking that you need to have this, and this before you can get started. That's a huge, I think, mental roadblock people have. Just do it.
It doesn't matter.
Just do the thing.
Because you have to be very brave. I think it takes a lot of bravery to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. But I've had so many people ask me, like, what do I need to do before I can do this? And it's like, you don't really need a lot. You just have to take the leap. Mm-hmm. And it's okay if it's not going to be, your viral video or on Billboard or charting. Like, it's not really what that's about. It's about you growing and putting yourself out there and just doing the thing.
And like, your phone in your pocket is like 100 times more powerful than what we started.
Now. Yeah.
Like, and that's like, that's where it's like, you are able to take what you have and find ways to be resourceful and find ways to make something cool happen. At the end of the day, it's about your unique voice. It's about the way that you approach it and be creative and do something that is you, in connecting with people. Going back to the gear thing, I like to ask this question. Can you think of one piece of gear that you got early on that made a huge impact on your journey and you wish that you had gotten it sooner, or if you could give it, like, you were like, hey, make sure you get an audio interface. I remember my first Focusrite Scarlett and it changed my life,
Ooh.
The good old Scarlett.
Yeah, totally. Man, I got two things I want to add to that. I came up in the Pod Farm days, if anyone remembers that. So I had like the Lion 6, I think it was called the UX2 at the time, and that was really cool for just giving me access to a lot of sounds I didn't have, and access to like DI recording, which was a huge step up from what I was trying to do before. And then other than that, I worked my first part-time job at Tim Hortons in school, shout out Canada. And
oh, Canada.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I spent all my money from like a summer working there, and I got my first really nice guitar. It was an Ibanez S-Series Prestige, and I bought that actually because of Herman Lee at the time. And that guitar in itself, one, it was cool because like I bought it myself, and I had just so much pride in that guitar, and it was such a fun, addicting instrument to play that it made me want to keep playing it, keep getting better, keep learning new things and finishing them. We talked about that at dinner last night, that just like having ideas and executing on them and finishing them and then moving on to the next one, you just continually 1% better every single time you do it. And next thing you know, you're looking back on videos you did 4 or 5 years ago and it's unrecognizable.
What about you, Lauren? Anything pop to mind?
I think it was game changing. Like my very first YouTube video was a vocal cover of a Woe Is Me song.
I found you
and
through
Delinquents.
That's what it was.
And Delinquents. And it was, I was just using a webcam, but the 2 pieces of gear that I got was a Rolland cakewalk interface and an MXL 990 condenser microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And I used those pretty much up until 2013. And I just like never upgraded them because they were just fine.
They worked.
And maybe I switched, I swapped the MXL for like a Shure 58. And that's what I used for so long. And I was just in my bedroom. Like if you watch my old videos, I'm just like in front of my bookshelf and you could see like my dogs walking around. I did all of that with just those pieces and I had nothing. And I think all in, that's like, I think the MXL 990 is like $100. I'm very reluctant to upgrade because I get very attached to my things. And then I was using Reaper, which I'm no longer still evaluating. I actually bought it and I think the license is like $60. I still use Reaper.
Yeah.
And I think I just get
Get
set.
it done.
But you can do so much with so little.
You can.
It's just figuring it out and going to YouTube University and asking your friends and learning little tricks along the way. And then you level up 1% every time.
1% every time.
There was never a moment where you can see me go from like really bad to like really good in one step. It's just like a steady climb.
Yep.
And
Can't
it's
give
just
up.
it's just throwing things at the wall and hoping that it works and then learning from it.
Also, like making things that you're excited about. I think
Yes.
if you do it for the right reasons and you're like, I think this is cool, there must be someone else that thinks it's cool too. That's a good, sustainable way to approach it.
You can't do it without the passion and the fun because you will
Yes.
burn out so quick
Super
if you
fast.
do it because you just want to make a bunch of money or if you do it because you just want to be famous. You have to do it because you love it and you have to do it because you are excited about what it is that you are doing. And if you can't say those things, then it's going to be really hard to get up the hill and the road that takes you to actually being able to do this full time or being able to really make an impact on your career with what you're trying to do. And then, I mean, you see where it can take you. Like, we're all connected through the internet, and it's super awesome for you both to be here. And Andrew Baina, he already had to leave, but like we just did the 12 days thing here at Sweetwater. It's been so much fun to just see how, like, YouTube and social media and like where it's taken us in our career. I mean, I'm here at Sweetwater now, which is even a whole different twist to the path. But it's like, it's a cool twist because now we're getting these content creators together. We're creating really interesting and unique productions. And so if you haven't seen it, you gotta check out these two in the 12 days production that we put out for the holiday season.
On the fifth day of Christmas, Sweetwater gave to me 5 home audio feeds, a 441, 3 plugins, 2 multi-keys, and a drum set and cymbals for
It might not be the holidays anymore when this posts, but it's still some incredibly awesome shredding on the guitar and some amazing vocals from Lauren. So it's been a pleasure having you all here. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for sitting down and answering some questions. And I will say, do you have any last piece of advice for anybody out there that wants to do this or wants to go after music. I personally believe nowadays, like, being a musician also means being a content creator to a certain extent, because record labels are looking at social media followings and you're able to really open the doors. So like, I feel like there's good advice, even if you aren't a content creator or a YouTuber, like you should be, because it can open so many more doors.
Ooh, I got a cool one that I was kind of riffing with one of my friends about recently. And it seems so simple and obvious, but I've made tons of great friends this way. If you like something that someone's doing or you think it's cool, tell them. A lot of times they're going to be really glad to hear it. You're probably going to be able to connect them with them really easily on something, probably make their day. And it's just such a simple and easy thing to do. So yeah, if you like what someone's doing, make sure you tell them.
Boom, it's a good one.
I think intention is really important. Doing it for you and doing it because you want to and doing it because your heart's in it, and really just touching grass and understanding why you're doing this and doing it for you and being yourself. Because I think in the end, anyone watching is going to see that, and it will make even more of a lasting connection with the people watching, because they're going to see the real you. And that's probably what people want to see, and you can take that further than if you wear a mask all the time.
Huge agree.
Well, there you have it. I'm gonna leave it on those amazing wise words from these two, because obviously they're doing it, they're out there generating huge followings and just making people smile with what they do, you know?
hope
And
so.
that's the key to it, you know? If you can make people smile, like for me, that's always been the, like, if there's one person out there that loves what I just did, then that, you know, makes it worth it. Now, of course, you hope there's more than one person, because you want to impact as many people as you can. But at the same time, like, the effect you can have on people creating content and just being out there, being a light and making cool stuff, like, it's awesome. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having
This
us.
is awesome. Thank you all for checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe, and you can check out our Discover page for content creators at sweetwater.com. Link is in the description. Got a whole bunch of cool stuff there. Check it out.
Take it away,